San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning.
It is January 2nd. Did you? Well, I guess we survived.
Yeah, we did.
We're here. We made it. Did you make it after the big holiday weekend? We were talking about this morning. It's kind of weird because the holiday was Sunday, but then people get Monday. So you have like an extra day to recover from all the fun and excitement and fireworks. Like Justin. Did you recover from the fireworks in your neighborhood?
I did, and I woke up Sunday morning with a massive headache. Not for the reason you're thinking, because Mountain Cedar. And
what am I thinking? What would you think I would be thinking?
Say that. Mountain Cedar and smoke was, just everywhere. It was hard to kind of go outside. Hopefully, we have not got the palm count in yet this morning, but we will soon. We'll let you know what Mountain Cedar, where it stands as of today. In the meantime, we've got to talk about the wet situation we have going on outside because we've got some showers moving through. These are all light showers, but kind of drizzly, and it is making for some wet roadways. Stephen will tell you about those hazards here in just a second. But as we look at the live radar, you can see some of those showers that have worked their way through San Antonio. And we'll see a little bit of dampness, I think, next couple of hours before the sun pops out later this afternoon. There you look at the visibility. It is down around the airport, but not too bad. It's at 2.5 miles. Bernie Stage down to 1.25 miles. Kerrville seeing some fog as well. And this extends out towards Eagle Pass. Nothing too terribly thick, but there is going to be some patchy fog in spots. And you can see that really here on our live cam as we look over the airport. 70 with some light rain being reported. South-southeasterly winds at about 9. Your KSAT 12-hour forecast will call for some of that dampness next couple of hours. And then by noontime, mostly cloudy. And then we jump into the 70s and even 80s. It's going to be a warm day before a front comes through later tonight. That does bring about some changes, some drier air by tomorrow. May also bring a shower or storm overnight tonight. We'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes. But let's get over to Stephen now. Looks like we do have an issue out there on the roadways.
Just one of a few that we're tracking here, Justin. 410 at Bandera. Take a look at that. We do have first responders out there on the scene. Obviously, the roads are pretty busy in this time of the day when we see folks that are still making their way to their destination. But just again, let's understand, we do have those first responders out there. Looks like on the far shoulder lane. And of course, they're still working to clear this scene up, and the investigation looks like it's still underway. But hopefully everyone's doing okay out there. In terms of traffic, we are seeing a little bit of a buildup, and that's reported right there in the eastbound lanes as you approach State Highway 16 or Bandera Road. Not a huge slowdown, but still, as you approach that crash, and you want to make sure that you move over or slow down. But as I mentioned, not the only crash that we are tracking this morning in the traffic lab. We have to take a drive down over here to State Highway 151 westbound at US 90. Now, TxDOT reports this as a major crash, but not catching anything on the TransGuide cameras, at least just yet. But again, another busy spot there on the west side of San Antonio. All right, let's take a drive over here because we do have a third crash reported along I-35 southbound at New Braunfels Avenue. As Justin mentioned, the roads look like they were getting a little wet out there. We saw some fog on some of the TransGuide cameras a little bit earlier, so you want to make sure that you're driving with extra caution today. Of course, we know a lot of folks are still at home enjoying the holiday. Kids are staying home from school. That will help us with congestion, but still, we know that we do have these isolated incidents you need to be on the lookout for. And of course, road closures. We still have plenty taking place throughout 2023. Let's get that QR code up. You can scan that QR code. That will take you to our KSAT traffic page. That has a full list of all the closures that are current and happening right now in our area. So just make sure that you drive safe out there. And I just caught on my corner of the eye another crash popped up. Look here at 281 at Olmos. We'll get you updated here and let you know what to expect throughout the 9 a.m. newscast. Guys.
Thank you, Stephen, for all those updates. Let's take a look at today's 9 at 9.
Beginning today, the body of former Pope Benedict XVI is set to lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. Mourners will be able to pay their last respects over the next 3 days before his funeral on Thursday. Preparations are underway for the historic ceremony. It will be the first time in modern history that a current pope has presided over his predecessor's funeral mass.
Thousands of Californians are starting the first week of 2023 without power, and others are under evacuation orders after a deadly storm hammered the state with historic rain, heavy snow, and life-threatening flooding that shut down major highways. Now that powerful storm system is moving east, threatening several other states.
A 5.4 magnitude earthquake rattled parts of Northern California yesterday. Surveillance video from inside a local police department shows the moment when the quake hit. A stronger earthquake with a 6.4 magnitude hit the same area nearly 2 weeks ago. That quake was blamed for 2 deaths and about a dozen injuries.
The 3 New York Police Department officers who were attacked near Times Square during the New Year's Eve ball drop are expected to recover from their injuries. The attack happened outside a security checkpoint. Police say a 19-year-old man began swinging a machete at officers with no warning before he was shot and wounded. The NYPD and FBI are investigating the attack but have not provided a possible motive.
Video from Icon Park in Orlando, Florida shows sparks coming from a section of a Ferris wheel on New Year's Eve night. Visitors at the popular tourist destination started filming as fire crews rushed to the scene. According to the local fire department, more than 60 people were rescued from more than 20 ponds. A spokesperson from Icon Park says the ride lost power but did not say why.
House Republicans have revealed their rules package for the upcoming Congress. It formalizes the concessions Representative Kevin McCarthy has agreed to in his bid for House Speaker. According to the new rules, only 5 Republicans are needed to call a vote to oust the sitting Speaker. The rules still have to be adopted by the House once it selects a Speaker.
As the GOP assumes control of the House this week, President Biden will join top Republican officials to promote the bipartisan infrastructure law. On Wednesday, he will visit Kentucky to endorse the massive public works package that he signed in 2021.
Millions of people in the U.S. are starting the new year with a pay raise. It all began yesterday. Hourly minimum wages in 23 states rose as part of the previously scheduled efforts to reach $15 an hour or to account for cost of living changes. Texas is not part of those 23 states. The increases will affect nearly 8.5 million workers.
Forget fancy dinners. More singles are opting to have more affordable first dates. That's according to a recent survey about dating expenses. The high cost of dining out and changes to dating habits during the pandemic, like walks and picnics, are driving the shift. Nearly half of millennial and Gen Z singles have suggested going on a less expensive, more budget-friendly dates. And that's today's 9 at 9.
People continuing to honor the legacy of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI here in San Antonio.
Local parishioners told Alyssa Cole about the impact the late leader had on the Catholic Church and its followers.
Sunday, San Antonio Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Ciar holding a special mass to honor Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI at San Fernando Cathedral.
He was a man very bright, very wise.
The Pope passed away on Saturday. He was 95 years old. Archbishop Garcia Ciar remembers his encounter with the Pope when he was installed as Archbishop.
I was able to learn from him understanding, patience, and humility.
Others reflecting on his legacy.
He played roles in the church, right? John Paul II called him to play major roles to help do some corrections and things like that.
And some people are honoring the lessons left behind from his service and duty.
One thing we need to remember is to be open-minded, to the willingness to listen.
I think that was probably one of his greatest legacies, is his saying that we were made for so much more, that we could do better.
Alyssa Cole, KSAT 12 News.
The new year beginning with some resolutions for a retired San Antonio police officer. He was shot in the line of duty 43 years ago, and he's still living with the effects of his wounds. Retired Sergeant Coy Boone was promised all medical care related to his injuries would be covered for life, but it's taken him more than a year to get approved for dental implants. KSAT Investigates reporter Tim Gerber got to the bottom of the problem and helped get it resolved.
He's shooting Oscar right there, Oscar Gallo.
This was Coy Boone's worst day as a police officer.
We got an officer's been shot. Get an ambulance over quick.
I was a member of the SWAT team, and I was the only sergeant working that day on SWAT.
A fellow officer had been shot by a teenager. Boone and the SWAT team surrounded the gunman inside this home on Bering Street.
We opened the back door. He came out.
And then?
He just pulled out a gun and shot an officer at the door. And then the other officers just responded and shot him. They opened fire at him. I was just about to shoot the man. I was hit here, 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 and here. 6 times. 3 in the vest, 3 in the body.
Boone and the other 2 wounded officers survived their injuries. He went on to serve another 19 years at SAPD and several more in local law enforcement before retiring. Even now, he still carries souvenirs from that November day in 1979. One is in this frame, the other is inside him.
And you still have one of the pellets?
Yes, and right here in my throat.
He's also living with the effects of the medications he was on for years to control seizures caused by his injury.
The side effect of one of those medicines, I don't know which one it is, but is it causes periodontal disease.
Following the shooting, the city agreed to cover all Boone's medical expenses related to the injury for the remainder of his life through the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. For years, everything's been covered, including several dental procedures. So when his dentist told him he needed dental implants last year, he submitted this proposed treatment plan for approval.
He needs about $15,000 roughly in dental work.
Becky Kozowick is Boone's daughter.
The dentist is ready to do the work. It's just we're waiting for a guarantee that it'll be paid for.
That treatment proposal was sent to the risk pool way back in September of 2021. Kozowick says they never got a reply, so she sent this email in June of last year requesting approval in writing. It never came. She says the medical claims specialist handling her dad's case told her that wasn't necessary.
There is no prior authorization needed, that they don't do those. And when speaking with his dentist, they told me they can't do that can't do the dental work without a prior authorization.
Kozowick says for 5 months they heard nothing. Then on November 28th, KSAT Investigate sent this email to the Texas Municipal League. Within hours, the person handling Boone's case sent this email to Kozowick stating the procedure had been approved months ago. The dentist also received this approval letter that day. It was dated June 6th, the same day Kozowick had sent her email seeking approval. The dentist office told Kozowick they had no record of that letter being sent to them before November 28th.
She said we hadn't received anything until yesterday, and I trust them because I know that had they received something, an approval, they would have called my dad.
Thank you.
While it's difficult to say who's responsible for this unnecessary delay, it now appears everyone is on the same page. And Coy Boone is on his way to getting some new teeth.
What are you most looking forward to doing once you finally get those implants that you need?
Oh, probably go eat a steak.
Tim Gerber, KSAT 12 News.
All right, so here's some more good news. Boone was notified by his dentist last month that everything is now on track. His dental work will be covered and paid for, and he should start the process of getting his new teeth later this month. His dentist did not want to participate in this story, however. And we got this response from the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool. While they couldn't talk to us specifically about Boone's case, they said, quote, the TML Risk Pool strives to give our workers' compensation claimants prompt attention, end quote. The KSAT Investigates team will let us know when Boone gets his new implants.
That's good news. Time now 9:11, 70 degrees outside. Still ahead on GMSA at 9. An inspirational story coming up. A local teen running her own barbacoa business and her message to other teens who have big dreams. Welcome back. A local teen's dreams came true after opening a restaurant with her sister and parents by her side. She shows us how love and family has played a key role in the restaurant's success.
For the holidays, we are selling tamales and menudo, barbacoa, of course.
Those tamales will be ready.
It's been a busy holiday season at this barbacoa shop off Dezavala Road near Babcock Road in the northwest side. When Sarah Hernandez was just 15 years old, she decided to start this business to bring a touch of her home to this side of town.
We put a lot of care and love into it. Like, we want to show that we can use our own food and voice to spread love.
Now 19 years old, she is the CEO of her restaurant, Sarah's Barbacoa. The restaurant opened in March 2019. Sarah's sister, Rebecca Hernandez, 23 years old, is the CFO.
So our barbacoa cooks for about 13 or 14 hours overnight. That's how long it takes to cook it, to get it to the perfection that it is.
Sarah says they make the food with love. And what makes this barbacoa so special? It's a family recipe.
It was passed down through my great-grandma, who is Sarah as well.
We're always checking everything. We're making the menudo, the tamales, everything. Everything goes in with with love.
Sarah says working with family makes this extra special.
I just love my sister a lot.
And while it's been a roller coaster ride since opening, Sarah says she's glad she did it.
Sometimes things don't sell, and sometimes we sell out the entire thing. And it's an interesting way to go through life. It's an experience.
To other teens with big dreams, Sarah has a message.
To believe in yourself, obviously. Your dreams can go far, and even with your family or with your friends or people that you trust, it's possible to make your own dreams come true.
Okay, 3 things. Great smile, great energy, and she gets to tell her family what to do.
And here's the 4th thing. The food is delicious.
Yeah.
Because I ate tamales for Christmas.
Did you really?
Ordered some, and you need to check it out.
Well, they were getting that matzah down there on that.
Yeah, they got it down.
Ooh, man, but it is good. So congratulations to her. That's awesome. Hey, Dad, I want to open a business. Okay.
Let's do it.
Boom. There she is.
It takes the village, the family, and
awesome.
love.
Awesome stuff. Good story. 9:17, 70 degrees.
I look outside with live cam, 70 degrees. Oh, not such a pretty day today.
It looks pretty gloomy right now. It's not going to stay that way, though. I do think we'll get some sun as we get into the afternoon, but you look at that scene, and it's pretty damp. We have some drizzle and some light rain, some fog in spots. Pollen count just came in, so I want to pass that along to you. Mountain Cedar is down, but it's still in the high category, 7,090, but it's down from yesterday's extremely high number, so that's good news there. Molds are low at 310. And as we look at January, now that we're officially in January, our average high January 1st is 63, the average low is 41. By the time we get to the end of the month, our average high is 65 and the average low is 42. So there's not a lot of shift in temperatures, but it does warm slightly. We reach our kind of bottom number there, and then we start to rise as we head into February. So it is obviously one of our cold months, and usually one of our drier months too. We average about 1.96 inches of rainfall for the month. So there you go. There's the climatology on January. And we're starting off with some fog and drizzle and cloudiness. Visibility is down about 2.5 miles at the airport, 1 3/4. Kerrville, Eagle Pass about 2.5 miles. So there is some fog out there. And another look at live cam. Roads don't look as wet as they were earlier, but still likely some drizzle in spots. 70 at the airport, 70 Kelly, 72 Randolph, 72 at Stinson. And there's a look at the radar. We had some of those showers come through, and now they're quickly pushing east. So around San Marcos, Luling, we're getting some actually heavier downpours starting to pop up within these showers, and that will continue to push east. San Antonio, by and large, is going to miss out on a lot of the rain with this storm system, and I'll show you that here in just a second. First, though, let's start temperatures. Start with temperatures. The clouds clear out and the numbers get pretty warm this afternoon. Right now we're forecasting 82 here in San Antonio. There could be some mid-80s down around Pleasanton today before we get a front through here tonight. The dew point trend, once that front comes through, we dry out quite a bit. So dew points will be high today, but they fall down into the 30s and 20s through much of this week. And that's going to make for a really nice week. It's not until the weekend that rain chances start to return. Here's another look at the radar and satellite, but kind of a different view here. You see all the cloud cover, and we talked about some of those showers that are moving through. We've got more showers out towards Houston. And then as we look at the big picture, big trough of low pressure out west, and that's what's behind all of this. But its track takes it well to our north, so that's why we miss out on a lot of the energy with this system. And this is going to be a big weather maker today for the country. You look at the severe weather potential, and you get into parts of Arkansas, far east, northeast Texas, and Louisiana. There is a pretty significant risk today for severe weather. But that's all well to our east. For us, our rain chances really are pretty small. We had that chance for drizzle and a little bit of light rain this morning. Then as the front comes through, we think that's overnight sometime. There is the possibility of one shower, maybe a storm popping up along the front itself. So we'll put in a 20% chance, and this is pre-dawn tomorrow, so right before rush hour. And then I think that shifts out, and then the dry air pours in, and Tuesday will be fairly quiet, just partly cloudy, and then we really clear out by Wednesday with a lot of sun. So here's how it looks in the 7-day forecast. We'll call for some clearing today after this initial batch of drizzle and shower activity moves out. Then a 20% chance of a shower or storm tonight with the front. 76 tomorrow, a little cooler. Morning lows are certainly chilly much of this week. 70s until we get into the weekend, and then we start to add in some more rain chances. A lot of uncertainty for the weekend forecast, I'll be honest with you. We're going to have to get a little closer to get some of the details refined, but we do think it'll be cooler on Sunday with a slightly better chance for rain, guys.
So we're about 5 degrees off, is what you're saying, from the average.
Pretty much, yes.
Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
Nice though.
Yeah,
I like that. All right. It is 9:21 and it is 7 degrees, 5 degrees off from the average.
A trip to Mexico ends with heartbreaking news for one family, but they say the kindness and help from a Southwest ticket agent is something they'll always be grateful for during a dark moment. When we come back, what the family hopes their story inspires in other people.
Southwest Airlines was in the headlines all of last week because of the travel mess during the holidays, but one woman is singing the praises of a ticketing agent for her help during her mother's last days.
She told Lee Waldman she'll be forever grateful for the kindness of a stranger.
We were just always attached at the hip, my best friend, and I just could never imagine my life without her.
To say Amy Berry and her mom Edith were close was an understatement.
That's her with the pirates. Every Sunday we had our hot dates.
Being the youngest of 3 and her mother's only girl, Berry says their relationship was special.
We were, as my brothers would say, kind of codependent on each other.
It's why the call Berry got on Thanksgiving Day gutted her to her core.
My mom had fallen asleep and never woke up. And my whole world crumbled.
Less than 10 days earlier, Edith had gone to Cancun to see her family who lives there. Berry says her mom was perfectly healthy. They never saw it coming.
She was in a different country. Things move a lot more quickly. And I had to be there.
Unfortunately for Berry, this past Thanksgiving, airports saw travelers at pre-pandemic levels. Only 2 flights would get her to Cancun, one at 5 p.m. and the other at midnight.
Just being stuck in an airport, like just needing to be with my mom. I mean, I was already going crazy.
Berry was told the later flight was the only option until Rosie stepped in.
She just said there was no way she wasn't going to get us on that flight. Like, she knew when she saw my face that I had to get on that flight.
Rosie, a ticketing agent for Southwest Airlines, held up the flight and made sure Berry was on it, getting Berry to her mother's side faster. Berry posted about the experience in a now viral Facebook post, hoping it'll soften people's hearts.
Some people might not call it a miracle, but for us, that was definitely a miracle.
Berry's post has been shared over 5,000 times. She hopes by sharing this story, it encourages people to give airline workers some grace. At the San Antonio International Airport, Lee Waldman, KSAT 12 News.
Time now 9:27, 70 degrees outside. There's a lot more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Yeah, coming up next half hour, TCU is headed to the national championship game after a huge win this weekend. We'll tell you who they're playing. And the Cowboys still have a shot at winning the NFC East, believe it or not.
But before that, the latest on the big arrest made in the murder of 4 Idaho college students. What we're now learning about the man arrested and what he did during the time between the killings and his arrest.
And as we had to break, a quick check of the roads. It was nice and quiet this morning, and all of a sudden, 4 or 5 of those have happened. Stephen Cavazos is here, and he's going to get you up to date on where these accidents are. Coming up.
I'm back with a time check at 9:31, and unfortunately, this crash here along 410 at Bandera, it doesn't appear that we've seen much progress. Let's go ahead and get a wide look now at TransGuide. We can see first responders have been out there for quite a while now, off in the far right shoulder lane. Now, it's unclear what caused this crash. We'll reach out to San Antonio Police to see if we can get a little bit more information, but we know that it is still causing a bit of a slowdown for drivers in the eastbound lanes as you approach State Highway 16 or Bandera Road. You can see a little bit of that red that's building out there. Nothing too drastic, but of course, we want you to be wary of some of these things that we're spotting on the TransGuide cameras. Not sure if it was caused by any of the rain, but it's probably safe to say that it could be a factor as to why we're seeing a few more incidents that have popped up here. State Highway 151 westbound at US 90, we still have this crash reported by TxDOT. Now, this one is not causing a whole lot of issues out there for drivers, but again, something to keep on the radar if you plan on traveling in the west side of San Antonio. All right, over here, 35 southbound at New Braunfels Avenue, we still have this crash also reported. Now, again, the roads may be damp in some areas, so just remember to drive carefully out there as we get a wide look at the map. Thankfully, we're really not seeing a whole lot of other issues out there. It has been a quiet morning. We were just talking about how quiet it was when we started GMSA, the earlier shows. Something went off and a switch went off, and now we're seeing a few more of those issues. But of course, we're going to continue to track the roadways. Let's give you one last look around town. 410 at McCullough looks pretty good there. And as you get one more look here, as we can get that flipped over to a different shot. There you go. We have it on rotation here. We're having some technical problems on the clicker there, but we'll get you updated. There you go. 410 at Perrin Bidle, a quiet shot there as well. We'll keep a close eye on things, and hopefully we'll see a better update on that crash along 410 at Bandera before the show wraps up, guys.
Thank you, Stephen. One of the big national news stories over the weekend, an arrest in the murder of 4 college students in Idaho.
A PhD student specializing in criminology was arrested in Pennsylvania and is now facing charges and extradition to Idaho. ABC's Kana Whitworth is in Pennsylvania with the latest.
This morning, new details unfolding about the suspect in the gruesome murders of the 4 University of Idaho students.
He was perfectly friendly, nice to be around, talked, he was a very intelligent person.
Detectives arrested 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohlberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee.
Authorities believe in the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th, he stabbed Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonzalez to death in their beds. On Monday, November 14th, while the world learned of the horror, Kohlberger was pursuing his PhD in criminology at Washington State University and working as a teacher's assistant.
He was acting as a TA as well as grading papers.
To find out it was our neighbor, it was like very horrific.
And while Kohlberger maintains his innocence, his apartment and office in Pullman, Washington, less than 10 miles from the crime scene, searched by police after his arrest some 2,500 miles away at his parents' home in the Poconos. His lawyer telling ABC News that Kohlberger's father flew out to Washington State so the two could take part in a pre-planned father-son cross-country drive back to Pennsylvania for Christmas.
Mr. Kohlberger indicated that Brian was acting normal and not out of character.
They arrived in that white Hyundai Elantra on December 13th, exactly 1 month after the brutal stabbings.
The white Elantra that we saw in some surveillance video, is that his white Elantra?
We believe so, yes.
Law enforcement sources telling ABC News they used DNA technology and other tools to identify the suspect, tracking him through his vehicle, which is now in police custody being processed.
I never felt like I was in danger around him,
Jack Bayless says he's known Kohlberger since middle school. The two grew up together in Pennsylvania, where Kohlberger is pictured in these high school yearbook photos.
He's always, been kind of curious as to how the human mind works, I guess, and especially as it relates to crimes, to criminals.
Kohlberger's family releasing a statement for the first time since his arrest. There are no words that can adequately express the sadness we feel, and we pray each day for them. We have fully cooperated with law enforcement agencies in an attempt to seek the truth and promote his presumption of innocence.
Kohlberger has been held here at the Monroe County Correctional Facility since his arrest Friday morning. He is facing 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. His lawyer says he plans to waive his extradition hearing on Tuesday. He hopes to quickly return to Idaho. He says his client is eager to be exonerated. Kana Whitworth, ABC News, Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
A look outside with live cam, 70 degrees, a warm and humid start to 2023, but there are some changes, Justin.
There are some changes. It does not feel like January out there. I mean, when you take into account dew points are in the 60s right now, it's warm, it's muggy, and it's going to be really pretty warm this afternoon. Front comes through tonight. That does bring about some at least small changes. Let me first start with the radar and show you where the showers are right now. Just because you don't see returns over San Antonio doesn't mean we don't have some drizzle falling that's been reported. But as you go east, that's where you start to run into some of the heavier downpours as you get out towards the Luling area this morning. We'll zoom in there. Looks like there are some good downpours right along I-10 between Gonzales and Luling. You'll run into some of that better rain, and this is where the best rain chance will be today, at least when it comes to our viewing area. San Antonio probably by and large misses out on any sort of significant precipitation. There's another look outside. Temperatures right now 70 with some of that light rain falling, south-southeasterly winds at about 9. And I mentioned the dew points. This is early January. You rarely see dew points like this, but they are up near 70 in some cases. That's summer-like morning humidity that we're contending with at this hour. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. Expect it to be a warm day. The sun does likely pop out this afternoon, and we're up around 82 or so. That changes with that front tonight. Brings a very small rain chance with it as it moves through, but it also brings in some drier air and some slightly cooler numbers as we get into tomorrow. That 7-day forecast for you coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Thank you very much, Justin. Oh, what a beautiful weekend for sports. We're talking about college and we're talking about NFL. Let's start with the TCU Horned Frogs. They're headed to the national championship game after what they did to Michigan Saturday afternoon. Oh my, oh my. How about 2 pick sixes by the defense? There's that Max Duggan pass, and just wow. Just watch that. That's a thing of beauty right there. A pass, a high step, and a touchdown for 60-something yards. TCU was all over. They scored 14 points in the first quarter. Usually TCU is a team that always has to come back in the third or fourth quarter. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, or the first quarter, and they were able to hold on and end up winning 51-45 thanks to Max Duggan and thanks to that defensive TCU just holding down Michigan. And that's who they're going to play. Here it is. Oh, you know the kicker feels bad today still. That thing was wide left. So Georgia ends up beating Ohio State. So that means this is for the national championship. TCU taking on Georgia a week from today, January 9th at 6:30. What a game that is going to be. How about those Horned Frogs, huh? Representing the Big 12.
Powered by Davis Law Firm.
All right, so the Cowboys, remember, played earlier in the week and they won, right? So now they're sitting around waiting to see what the Eagles do. The Eagles were playing the Saints yesterday, and oops, the Saints end up beating the Eagles. Now, here's one of the Eagles' touchdowns. It makes it 13-10. The Saints ended up getting a pick six later in the game, and the Saints, here it is right there. Whoop, got it, gone. Thank you. Saints beat the Eagles, so that means the Cowboys' hopes of winning the NFC East are still alive. Let's look at the play. If the playoffs happen today, here's a look at what they would look like. But there's still a lot of things left to do between then. So the Cowboys would be the 5th seed, and they would play the Buccaneers. If the Cowboys win this weekend and the Eagles lose this weekend, the Cowboys could actually move up to the 3rd or the 2nd seed in the NFC. So this could all change come Sunday evening. So we'll have to see how that works out. Right now, the Eagles get that wild card bye. The Cowboys could not get the first round bye, but they get at least moved up to the 3rd or the 2nd spot in the NFC. Over in the AFC, let's check and see what it looks like today. Of course, a lot of this stuff could change. As we mentioned, wild card first round bye right now, the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, of course. And don't forget, tonight, the Spurs. There's the Dallas Cowboys matchup for you. That's coming up on Sunday. And then tonight, the Spurs are on the road. They play the Nets tonight. The Nets have won like 11 in a row. Tip-off for that one is at 6:30. Then they play the Knicks. And then they come home for a couple of games this weekend. So we'll see if they can bounce back. They only lost to the Dallas Mavericks by 1 point. Luka Doncic had like 51 points. If they could have just held him to 50, they could have gone to overtime. How about that? All right, so it's the Nets tonight and the Spurs 6:30, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back.
I was looking at the big city cam on our storyteller board over here. It looks like rain out there. I don't know what that dark cloud is, but it looks like it could have some rain in it.
Justin, what is he talking about?
You're
right.
Yeah, see? I pay attention.
You do. We appreciate that, by the way, David. You do. He knows more about the weather than.
What did I learn? What I told you I learned. So what did I learn over the weekend?
Cloud condensation nuclei.
Yes.
He just threw that out there this morning like it was no big deal. I was kind of blown away.
Yeah. Got it.
We appreciate you listening.
That was a Saturday morning deal, too.
Yeah, that was it. Sarah Spivey was talking about that. Had to do with fireworks and the fog and everything. But anyway, back to that gray cloud you were talking about, David. Yes, there is some rain contained in that. We've seen a little bit of drizzle and light rain here around San Antonio. That rain is quickly moving east, at least the heavier stuff. You see that around Luling right now, where it is actually getting quite heavy. There could even be a few lightning strikes mixed in here. But This is also now east of Luling. I mean, it's moving at a pretty good rate. And if we're going to see some rain today, any significant rain, it's going to be well east of San Antonio. Unfortunately, we miss out again. It seems like that's been the case for the last year and a half almost. But that is the situation at this hour. We look at the satellite picture, and we're finally getting kind of a good shot here with our visible satellite now that the sun is up. And you can see we've got quite a bit of cloud cover here over San Antonio. There are some breaks out west, and I do think that the sun eventually pops out here in town, but we've got that little batch of rain that is tracking through. And as we look at the big picture across Texas, the low is spinning up here across the Four Corners. So you got good snow across the mountains of New Mexico, and then a nice shield of clouds here working through Texas. There's a front in there somewhere too, and you can see that with the temperatures. 46 in Amarillo, 49 in Lubbock, so colder up there. And then out ahead of the system, sort of summer-like warmth, at least this morning. We're at 70. Dew points are in the 60s. Feels incredibly sticky. It's not until tonight that we get that humidity out of the way with this frontal boundary. It sweeps through our neck of the woods. But behind this system, 20s and 30s, not terribly cold. This is not the Arctic outbreak that we were looking at a week or so ago, but it is chillier, and we'll get some of that drier air in here, as I mentioned, behind this storm system, which is quickly pushing east. So you see the snow associated with it. You got the front right there with some rain out ahead of it. And as that front pushes east today, you're going to get severe weather. And I think there's going to be a pretty good outbreak of severe storms. Hail, tornadoes across parts of far northeast Texas, Louisiana, and then the whole state of Arkansas. So not here, but well to our north and east. And this is going to be a problem area today. This darker shade of red is where we'll be watching. Meantime, here we've got the cloudy skies, the gray clouds, as David pointed out, with a little bit of light rain coming down. 70 degrees at the airport, south-southeasterly winds at about 9. There is also some fog to contend with. We saw the visibility here around San Antonio, 2.5 miles. But Bernie, Kerrville, and down towards Castroville, out towards Hondo, you are going to find some patchy fog. It looks like visibility is improving some. This isn't terribly thick, but should get better here next couple of hours. And then by noontime, we'll call for mostly cloudy 75, 77 at 1 o'clock, 79 2 o'clock, and then by 4 o'clock, our high temperature 82 with partly cloudy skies. As that front comes through tonight, we'll see the opportunity for 1 or 2 more showers, and we'll add some small rain chances back in. So here's how it looks. This is 5 o'clock today, partly cloudy to mostly sunny, really not a chance for rain. But as the front comes in tonight, there is a very small, brief window that we could see a shower or storm. This model wants to put out a thunderstorm. I think the chances are low for this, but we will add in a 20% chance. And this is 5 a.m. tomorrow, so this is just pre-dawn. That window closes quickly, and then most of Tuesday is just fine. No rain chances, just partly cloudy skies. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, looking really good. We'll get some drier air in here, so the mornings will be chilly, but the afternoons will be close to perfect. 76 tomorrow, 74 Wednesday, 70 on Thursday, 75 Friday. Then as we get into the weekend, we got another storm system in here, and still some questions as to timing with this, but we do think rain chances will show up, especially as we get into Sunday, and it will be cooler with another frontal boundary.
Can you go back to that city cam shot, or is that like you got to go through a whole?
No, I have to go through all of them.
We'll come back. We'll try to come back.
Because it's right over here. They can't swing the camera over there.
Yeah.
Right now. Because I just wanted people to know. Oh, wait. I just wanted people to know. I wanted to show this again. I just want you to know that I have not lost it. See that right there? Doesn't that look like that could be rain?
You're not wrong.
I just.
Future meteorologist over here.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I just looked at it.
Right.
It looked like rain.
It does.
Oh no. What's today? Monday? It's gonna be a long week. And now we're going to talk about this. Depending on which expert you follow, we either are at the beginning or in the midst of the age of Aquarius. So that means Jupiter is aligning with Mars or not aligning with Mars.
But as ABC's Will Gans reports, one thing is for certain. According to the positions of the planets, 2023 will be an interesting year for all of us.
There's a lot to look forward to this year, astrologically.
I would say leisure, creativity, and less stress overall. I think we're coming out of this period of emotional heaviness from the past 2 years.
And according to astrologer Alice Bell, 2023 will be especially special if you're an Aries or a Taurus.
Jupiter is moving through Aries and Taurus. So those signs, Aries and Taurus, are probably going to have a lot more opportunity and feel a lot less stress or pressure on them.
But everybody will reap the benefits of the planetary movements this spring.
Jupiter is moving into Taurus on May 16th. So that will be really exciting. So a bigger emphasis on like people enjoying leisure time. Taurus is so much about like taking it slow, really enjoying life. So just seeing that more widespread, like maybe the 4-day work week is more of a thing that becomes a focus.
And buckle up for March.
March will be like a really critical month this year. Saturn's moving into Pisces. Also Pisces themes related to escapism too. So the last time Saturn was in Pisces was the mid 1990s, and that was like the rise of video games.
Also at the end of March, Pluto moves into Aquarius.
And that's a huge deal. Pluto hasn't changed signs since 2008. So with Pluto moving into Aquarius, that's really centered around technology. So I definitely expect like the rise of artificial intelligence to become even bigger, and maybe also bigger changes going on with social media.
So we are currently in a Mercury retrograde right now. In fact, all 3 Mercury retrogrades this year are in Earth signs. So you should focus on how to better organize your day, be more productive. Alice says these 3 weeks are all about re-strategizing in the realm of work and routine. Will Gans, ABC News, New York.
Just as long as there's less stress, we'll be okay.
Yes, I agree. 9:51, 70 degrees outside.
TransGuide, we've had some crashes around San Antonio. We're still got this one working there at 410 and Bandera. So hopefully things are getting cleared up and you can move on. But we've had some rain in the area, a little drizzle here and there, so the roads are going to be slick. Be careful.
Welcome back. An iconic piece of San Antonio's skyline is gearing up for a multi-million-dollar transformation. The Tower Life building stands 31 stories high over downtown. Tonight on the Night Beat, we'll take a look back at the building's 90-plus year history here in San Antonio and what is still to come.
And right now we're sitting at 70 degrees. We're going to be up around 82 this afternoon. The sun will try to pop out. It will still be somewhat of a humid day, but a front sweeps through tonight. Very, very small chance for shower storm with that front. And then drier tomorrow, 76 on Tuesday. Really a great week. The weekend, though, does hold some rain chances with another front coming in.
We could use a little rain. And we want to remind you there is not going to be a noon show today because the Citrus Bowl, I believe LSU, so that's where Ursula must be today, sitting on the couch watching LSU.
Yes.
And I don't remember who they're playing.
I don't
know. So much
I've lost track of the bowls.
Oh, it's Purdue. Okay, so it's LSU and Purdue today. And then all the news on our website. And, of course, KSAT 12 News at 5 today.
And thanks for watching.